What's up, Metal Summoners? It's super duper great to see you guys. I'm coming to you from the deepest, darkest pit. Angel is coming from you from the coziness of New Jersey. And as always, we appreciate you guys rocking out with us and having a great time here on the Metal Summit as we get to bring you all these bitchin' interviews with all of our great guests and everything right in between. As always, this is your Island of Misfit Toys, like I said, with myself and Angel, and we're going to continue on having ourselves a really great time. We are going to jump right into it with our guests this evening. We've got Disciples of Verity back on our show with us. We've got Zach joining us. Miranowic, how are you, my friend? And thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Metal Summit.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for being a part of it. First and foremost, what can you tell us about how 2024 is shaping up for Disciples?
Oh man, 2024 is going to be a good year for us musically. We finished our record. It's called Nexus, and we're gearing up to release our first single, Thread the Needle. I want to say sometime in April or May, but definitely be on the lookout for a couple singles this year and well into next year too.
Nice, man. Nice. Talk a little bit about your involvement in Disciples of Verity. We've had both of the Corys of your band on our show previously, but how about yourself? How did you become involved with them?
I don't know if you know Mark and George from DOV also, but I know Mark for a long time, and their guy Danny moved to California, so they needed a guitar player. So he's like, Zach, you want to try out? So Corey's like, yeah, cool. Just send a video, and I sent it over, and he's like, you got good feel. Come out and play with us. So it wasn't too long after that, and the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. Right on. When it came to writing with all these different kinds of talents, with all their various like experiences and all the different types of music that they've done with different projects of their careers, how did you feel when it came to gelling with them, with their style versus yours?
Good. I mean, everybody has such, like you said, such a different background, like what they're known for. Like Corey is like balls to the wall metal, and then Glover is more like, funky rock. And I think it comes together nicely. We worked with a guy, Sahaj. He helped us write a couple like things. So, he's in raw, and, Mark and I are very bluesy, and George is very like gritty and tight, like with Corey. So, yeah, I think it makes for an interesting blend of like hard rock, heavy metal, a little bit of blues, and like some ambient tinges in there too. We threw in there, so I'm really
No,
stoked about it.
absolutely, man, for sure. Were you a fan of any of your band members' like previous groups? Like, were you into God Forbid at all, or were you into Living Color, or anything like that from your various band members?
Yeah, I love Living Color. I got my first Living Color album when I was like 14. I think I went to like the Golden Nugget flea market, and I'm like, oh, cool. It's a great album, and I bought it. I popped it in, and I've loved them ever since. So I actually didn't know too much, God forbid, before, but I've been listening to them at the gym here and there, and it's all cool. Everything's awesome. So I mean, everybody's so talented. So
Absolutely, man, for sure. Angel, let's kick it up to you, my friend.
Again, I just want to thank you for your time. Question is, what influenced you to the music? I know coincidentally, I had a chance to talk to your father, who let me in on a lot of the musical influence that he bestowed on you. So just want to know what really turned you on into music.
Well, my parents were always listening to something. Especially my dad. He always was working out in the other room, so I would always hear like Ozzy and classic rock and Metallica. My mom gave me my first couple Metallica CDs that she had. She didn't even have the case for them. She just had the disc. She's like, "Here, just pop them in." Um, and just Alice in Chains. I really got into them. I was like 14, and yeah, I mean, a lot of those like blues rock, hard rock, kind of guitarists, especially the ones that sing too. The ones that are great songwriters, they have all the riffs, all the lyrics, just the whole package deal, you know. So those are the guys that I really gravitate towards, and they got me into playing guitar.
So, man, again, I was told about your guitar collection, and I was just freaking blown away.
Oh
How
yeah.
do you like? Is it to collect it? Is it to see what works, what doesn't work? Just kind of curious about your extensive collection of
Oh yeah.
guitars. Wonder
If
if you
I
could talk
could,
about that a bit.
I could show you all of them over here. I got more
Yes.
over here. I got them over there. They're everywhere,
Damn.
and they're in my girlfriend's office, and they're in the basement. Yeah, I mean, every guitar has a job. And being in so many projects, DOV and a couple other bands, and every guitar has a job. You got different tunings, and some are a little more country oriented, blues oriented, and some are just like really fat and solid for laying down rhythms in the studio. But of course, I got my go-tos, my Gibson SG, my Schecters, my PRS. So those were some of my favorites.
Are you endorsed by anybody, or?
I wish. I'm working on it. That'd be cool. I got to go out to that NAMM festival one of these days. Mark and George and everybody keep telling me to go out there, and they're like, if you run into somebody, you could get an endorsement. Just tell them what you're up to. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
All you gotta do is just show them your collection.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that. Like maybe like doing reviews or something might actually maybe they'll send me something. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, just do a review on, what works, what doesn't work, the pros and cons about it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I love pretty much all of them. There's probably only like one or two that I never play, but I mean, I play them all. And I guess, it's better than I don't know. There's worse vices to be had. Like I said, everybody has their vice. So.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really paying attention when you was talking about the first single because we was not on Facebook Live yet, so I had to fix that problem, which I did. So just wondering if you can just talk about the new music that's coming out and how was the writing process for it.
Oh yeah. The new music that's coming out to DOV, you can expect new singles throughout 2024, well into 2025. Our newest one, and we have a video shot for it already. It's called Thread the Needle. So be on the lookout for that. And basically, we got together at George's house, and we would sit and we would come up with riffs, and we would figure out how to connect all the good ones. And then we got Glover out in the studio. I forget where it was, Indiana, Sweetwater Studios, and he recorded his vocals with Sahaj from Ra. And Corey Pierce went in and did his thing, I think also in Sweetwater Studios, and he did his drums, and they did a million takes. So just to see what was the best one. So a lot of detail and TLC went into this record.
Where did you do your guitars?
I did them at George's house, actually. Some of them I did here, right in this office, and I sent them over. And he polishes them up with like the cool tones and all that. I use like Logic Pro, but he's got like Pro Tools and all that, so he's got all the good stuff. So
any chance of possible touring with the live shows this year?
I'm not sure about like extensive tours. We did do a tour, a short tour, like 8 shows a couple years ago. But as I'm sure you know, Glover's very busy with Living Color. But whenever he's free, we would love to get on the road and play a couple shows here and there, one off, maybe in the tri-state area, New Jersey, PA, New York. So, and then we got a friend up in Connecticut who owns a bar, and he's got a venue, I think, upstairs. And they got like go-karts and stuff. So maybe Connecticut one of these days too.
And hey, Connecticut, show us some love. Bring us all up.
Yeah,
there.
anywhere. I'm willing to go anywhere at this point.
especially the UK. I was telling your dad, I was like, that band has got to make it out there because that's where a lot of bands actually go to for like all the festivals and all that fun
Yeah,
stuff.
I hear the UK gives us metal bands a lot more love than we get here in the States. So I've actually never left the United States, but that might be an experience for sure. Yeah, I would love to do it sometime in my lifetime.
I mean, it's just interesting. Like the labels, like Mighty Music is out there. We know the band Kick and Valentina. They do a lot of shows in the UK because the record label is out there. Frontiers um, up in
Oh yeah,
Italy. So it's just pretty interesting. All that stuff that is happening out there, but
yeah,
they run against the same problems that other countries do.
yeah,
Which is, for an example, when Iron Maiden tours South America, they don't book the local bands. Like that's something like you got to book the new bands because
yeah.
that's how Motley Crue did it. Ozzy took them out on tour. The Bon Jovis, they were taken out on tour.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's hard for a little guy to get their foot in the door these days. Uh, I mean, I can't really say because I kind of just came into that. I'm like Tony Soprano. I came in after the best of things, and now I'm at like the worst of it now. I guess right now is like the worst for like touring musicians. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's kind of just been my world view of it. Just it's always been hard to get. Uh, Come on, guys, give me a hand. Let's go do this. But yeah, you gotta look out for the new bands, the small guy to support because these guys are getting old. You know, you need new music, and you can't like gatekeep everything. You gotta let everything flow. Let the people decide.
Exactly. Because I know with people are like, "Oh, Rush, please go back out," and we're like, these guys, they're in their 70s. Sometimes
Yeah,
and when you're in your 70s, you get to that age where you're entitled to enjoy life without touring.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, these guys are getting up there. Even Slayer. Slayer's getting back, supposedly. Uh
so, what's your take on that?
I mean, I'm all for it. I only got to see him twice. I saw him in 18 and 19 back to back at PNC or Susquehanna, one of those. And it was awesome. I mean, those guys. I mean, Tom Araya can't move, but like he's like bringing it. And what is he like 60? So I mean, I think they can definitely nail it still. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Like I said, look. I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, I'm just one person out of a gazillion people on Earth. So I mean, if they want to do it, like I said, if you don't like it, don't buy a ticket. If you like it, buy a ticket and
Yeah.
support the band and what they do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Kerry King's got his new project. What is that? Forget what it's called. Rise Above, I Raise from Hell. But I took a listen to it, and it's pretty much like Slayer. It's a little different. It's like Repentless almost.
No.
But yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of interesting. I found the timing to be more interesting than anything of it. It was just kind of weird to me. I mean, Carrie's been super vocal about how he thought that Slayer hung it up too early, and he wanted to keep making music, so he immediately started, putting together the Kerry King band and the Kerry King album and his first solo album, and continuing and mentioning that he and Tom haven't even spoken a word, not a message, not a
Yeah.
text, not a nothing,
yeah.
since the last show. And then all of a sudden, kind of out of the blue, this show was announced. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's awesome. I've seen them live myself, and they're a great show. I'm not exactly what you would call a Slayer fan, but I appreciate their show. I like Gary Holt quite a bit because I do like Exodus.
Yeah.
But I'll admit I found the timing of this show to be a little suspect, a little interesting.
Hmm.
But I mean, look, if it's legit, if they're gonna perform and if they're gonna bring it, well, horns up, let's go.
Yeah,
You
really.
know,
Like,
no, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I think it's freaking genius what he did. You, okay, you do an interview to promote your solo record, then you announce the whole thing with Slayer. So you're still kind of
Yeah,
intertwining there.
they're working
That's a
in
marketing genius.
they're working in symbiosis. One's
Right.
getting buzz off the other. I mean, it's you know what I mean. It's good for him. At the end of the day, you got to keep busy with all your stuff, you know. So I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But no, that's awesome.
Okay, we have to address this rumor from Melissa. I heard Zach likes to fight drunk people on tour.
Oh, yeah. Uh, Not that I like to fight drunk people, but I will. I will do it. Yeah, so on our last tour, DOV, and that's funny. What's going on, Melissa? Um, we went out. It was the last show. I had just gotten COVID. It was 21 or 20, beginning of 2022. So COVID was still hot and heavy. So I go to the jukebox, you know, the one where you put a couple bucks in and you pick like whatever you want to listen to, Slayer and all that. And the guy came over and he was like, "What are you doing changing my song?" I'm like, I'm adding to the songs. What are you talking about? And little did he know we were gonna play anyway, so they were gonna shut it off. And he got all up in arms about it, and he got in my face, and I got sucker punched. And then it didn't last long. Before you knew it, he was out of there. So I mean, I wouldn't even know if you'd call it a fight, really. Like,
But it's still a cool story.
yeah, it was cool. I mean, I guess whether he knows it or not, I COVID punched him with my face. So, so joke's on him.
No, there was another
That's
question.
that rumor. I've officially debunked it.
Would you ever do a project for Melissa? Z and his girlfriend should record an album. She's incredibly talented also.
Oh, so get this. So we already did, and it's coming out March 8th. So
now this is breaking news.
Yeah. So besides DOV, so there's a lot going on in DOV. I'm in another band, Riversend, with my girlfriend Olivia. She sings. I sing a little bit in the background. I try to support her. I'm trying to take like the Jerry Cantrell route, where like she's up front, and I just want to like make like the soundscapes and all that. So yeah, our next single is coming out March 8th. It's called Wither, or March 6th. It's called Withering, and March 8th is our full LP, dropping 2 days after that. So I'm really stoked about that. There's a video and everything. So I would definitely.
Wow, so this is breaking news.
Yeah.
So how did that come? So how did that come together? How was that conversation like? Was it your idea? Was it her idea? How did that happen?
She's always been a closet singer, and I'm like, all right, either you're gonna try, or you know what I mean. You got to get out there. If you want to do it and you love it, you have to do it. You have to just like put yourself out there and come out of your comfort zone a little bit. You're gonna suck. You're gonna have moments where you suck or like you're not great, but you just, bottom line, you got to do it. So we started just writing a song, and it took like a year because things always go on in life, you know. Things get in the way, and she's in school now actually for radiology. So, you know, so we write when we can, and we finally got enough tunes to where we can release an album. So now we're just looking to get a couple people to go play like some breweries or something, like some acoustic gigs.
Dude, like I said, look, I'm putting this out to you. When you have a show, if you want me to host it, come out there, introduce the band, do whatever, dude, let me know.
Yeah,
I'm here to support live music.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what DOV and Riversend's doing. And then I don't know if you guys know, I'm in another band called Second Skin. And Mark is the other guitar player in DOV, and he's also the other guitar player in Second Skin. So that's kind of like my link between the two bands. And we just released an album called Letting Go. It's 10 songs. We got a cover of like Chicago, an acoustic song, and then like 8 bangers. So I would go check that out if you're into hard rock, heavy metal, like Alice in Chains, Pantera, Corrosion of Conformity kind of stuff. And then
Nice.
yeah. So and then I got my own thing going on under my own project. It's an EP. I released an EP last year. I released an album before that. So if you're into like Black Label or Alice in Chains, or I guess that's kind of within that realm. So I'm all over the place. I'm in everything.
Yes.
You got to take like the Chris Cornell approach and just be part of everything.
Dude, you've announced. Damn. I lost count. But
Yeah, I'm like spilling my guts out here.
hey, no problem. But thank you, Melissa, for the question and giving us that breaking news.
Yeah. So.
Okay, this is a question from Brian, and I can relate because I'm originally from South Jersey.
I like to analyze accents. I'm going south. Yeah. Well, I'm from everywhere. But yeah, I am currently in South Jersey, so maybe it's rubbed off on me a little bit. So, where are you guys from?
I'm originally from I grew up in South Jersey, but I'm now up in New Brunswick. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm originally from Massachusetts. I live outside of Baltimore now.
Oh, okay. Nice. So how did you guys meet up?
So basically, that's a cool little thing. So we were kind of sought out by this guy, Max, who wanted to start like a music podcast show. And this was 4 years ago now. We had all met up the year before we launched the show at a Maryland festival called the M3 Festival. And Max had this idea of wanting to do this show with 80s rock personalities and stuff like that. So we were like, cool. So it was, our regular group of me, Angel, Bobby, Steve, Max, and then we also had this guy, Mitch LaFon, that was on our first episode. And we started the show on the first Wednesday in March of 2020. And it was funny because we were kind of like setting up the show, like planning out how we wanted to do it and all that kind of stuff. And we're thinking to ourselves, like, damn, like, how are we going to be able to do an interview every single week? Because we want to be a consistent interview show. Well, 3 weeks after our first show, all of a sudden, all the musicians of the world were out of work. And so we just kept the show going, and we just reached out to our various contacts. We were originally called the M3 Summit because we were trying to kind of specialize in the M3 Rock Festival, which is an 80s-based festival. Well, obviously, with everybody kind of out and about and us just reaching out to the various people that we're into, we stopped really sticking to that M3 format. So we were about 10 or so episodes in, and I remember talking to the team and being like, hey, guys, we kind of have to address this elephant in the room. Do we want to rebrand? Because if we want to rebrand, since we're not really sticking to the M3 80s rock format, we should really look into doing this now, because it's going to be a lot easier to rebrand now as opposed to like episode 50. So when we've been on for like a year and then trying to rebrand as something different. So we decided we wanted to look into rebranding, and we just kind of all threw out some various names and stuff that worked. And I liked the idea of the word summit. I thought we should keep it because I love that kind of pinnacle, top of the mountain kind of thing. And we ended up all agreeing that the Metal Summit was a good name, a solid name, really strong. And we were also very fortunate, too, because I remember doing some casual research on it in Google and stuff, and it just doesn't exist anywhere. So we
Okay.
just kind of jumped all over it, and we designed our first logo, and then it kind of morphed into a second version, and morphed into eventually what we have right now, which is definitely a very strong one for us, this kind of like icicle pentagram thing that we're doing. But yeah, 4 years later, me and Angel are just kind of keep doing our thing. We love great conversation and just keeping bands in the frontal lobe of the fans.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm sure you guys meet so many awesome people, and they got amazing stories, and I really appreciate you guys, what you guys do.
No,
So
No,
pleasure is
appreciate
ours.
you, man. Yeah,
Look,
thank you so much, man. So when I was doing some looking up and down your page and stuff like that as I was preparing for the interview as well, it seems like you get out there and do like a lot of acoustic stuff.
I try to. It's hard ever since COVID. It's a lot of things closed down, but now it's like we're trying to see what's reemerging or what's being like rebranded, essentially, like what venues are maybe being bought out and turned into something like another venue, or so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do at Riversend. Second Skin did an acoustic show. We were in between drummers, and we never really did an acoustic show, and it's cool to try it. I always loved when like hard rock bands do the unplugged thing. So it's cool to see like what songs they pick, and how they translate over. Some translate way better than others, but yeah, I love that stuff. I'll play any gig, honestly.
Nice.
hey, that's the
What
same
kind?
way we are. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, go ahead, Angel. Go ahead. It's all good.
I mean, we interview anybody. I mean, we sometimes go on Thursdays at 2 o'clock because of the sake of the UK bands, that it's a 5-6 hour difference.
Oh yeah.
So they're not going to be on at 2-3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday at 9. So we have to do it on a Thursday, 2-3 o'clock, where it's 7-8 o'clock in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I work remote, so I totally understand the time difference. I've done my fair share of 3 a.m. jobs for Australia, so so that's always really fun. Waking up
Oh,
at
yes.
2:30 and signing in and trying to go back to sleep at 5.
We've had a band from Australia where we went on at the same time at 9 o'clock, but it was 10 a.m. in Australia.
Yeah. Gotta love old Australia. I see a question at the bottom of my screen. What do you like?
What do you like?
Being a musician. Okay. Well, I would say playing gigs, but particularly for me, like some of my favorite shows I ever played was at like the Stone Pony, because the sound's good, the crowd's always really into it. The more into it they are, the more into it like the players are. I don't know, the energy is what really makes it. It's kind of like playing sports in school and then playing the games. Like the adrenaline is there. There's nothing like doing the actual thing that you practiced and put in all that time for. So that's kind of like, I like to say to my bands, man, we got to play a gig. It's kind of like getting laid. You haven't gotten laid in a while. It's like you gotta play that gig. You gotta go out and play and make some noise and let people know that you're still a band.
Some of us can relate.
Oh yeah. Not to get like too blue, but let's see. What did they say? I don't have my specs on.
Okay, bring back a musician from the dead. So this is, if you could bring back a musician from the dead and sacrifice a current musician, who would you bring back from the dead in exchange?
Okay. Well, I'm superstitious and I don't want to wish death on anybody, but hypothetically, if let's just say that they just forgot how to play instead. Let's say Who's really bad? Let's get rid of Machine Gun Kelly and let's bring back like Dimebag Darrell. Let's get rid of
We
the
all
Hello
agree with
Kitty
that.
guitar player and let's bring back Dimebag.
Yes. MGK.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't see the appeal. I see a lot of these hip hop and rap guys going over to play guitar. It's like, they try. But then, I don't know. It's weird. You see a lot of guitar, like, then they bring in good players. And it's like, well, maybe that's good for us, actually, because they're bringing kind of rock back in a sense. So I don't really know. It's like a double edged sword.
Yeah,
But yeah, bring back Dimebag.
Yeah, bring back Dimebag Darrell. I can't stand MGK.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't get it.
yeah. We lost power, so I'm rocking out of my car for this, and she decided she wanted to come in and join as I'm charging phones and all that kind of stuff. But she makes fun of me all the time because like I'm a big like pop punk emo guy as well, despite being like really into 80s rock and goth stuff. And she's always like, "Man, you and that boyfriend of yours, Machine Gun Kelly, like." like don't get me wrong, I'm not like I don't need to go running to his show. I don't need to kick in Ticketmaster's door. Oh my God, Machine Gun Kelly's coming to town. But like it's kind of like what you were saying, like for the sake of like kind of the scene, and strengthening stuff and putting that kind of on the radar where people might look back at other bands, whether it be like Good Charlotte or Newfound Glory or My Chemical Romance. There's a part of me that's down for the cause with MGK because of what other bands he can remind people were a thing and were an awesome thing. But there's a whole lot of just general weirdness when it comes to like Machine Gun Kelly though too, where it's kind of like, I got nothing personal against you, dude, but you are kind of a weirdo.
Yeah. I liked him in The Dirt.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
So.
I would have liked it to have either been like a 2-part movie or like a short mini series personally.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. We need something like that. They got to do one for like I don't know. I guess Alice in Chains or something. I have seen a couple things they were like doing Lane Staley ones, but I don't know.
Oh, nice. We actually got to meet Jeff Tremaine, the guy who directed The Dirt and the guy who directed like the Jackass movies and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was doing like interviews and stuff because I guess he was involved in like some kind of like 80s documentary type thing on like Netflix or something, and Megan and I actually got pulled in to get interviewed by him for the show. I think our footage might have ended up on the cutting room floor, but it was still pretty cool to get interviewed by Jeff Tremaine.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And again, like you never know who you're gonna meet. I'm sure it's got to be it's an honor, for people to make time and like just be able to have a conversation and pick their brain and kind of be a fly on the wall a little bit,
Yeah, 100% for sure.
Yeah, so
definitely, man, for sure. Before I kick it back up to Angel, Zach, I wanted to ask you, man, like, who was like your specific influences for wanting to play guitar?
Oh man, when I first started, I wanted to be a singer. But then I think I was like 12. I was at my dad's house, and we used to watch like VH1 and all that, and like MTV, and the Metallica Seattle '89 came on. I'm like, whoa! And James Hetfield's like screaming at people, and he's like doing his down picking thing, and I'm like, that's badass. He's playing all that crazy shit while singing and like commanding the crowd. I just thought that was the best. So I'm like, I got to learn how to like seriously play guitar. Like I had a guitar, but it was just collecting dust in the corner, like against the amp for like a year and a half. And I'm like, you know what? If I do this every day for like a couple minutes and like really focus, I bet I'll be good after 20 years. So.
Nice. That's awesome, man, for sure. When it comes to that big four, is Metallica kind of your number one when it comes to that?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say they're my biggest influence, but I mean, I love all the big four. I love Slayer. Dave Mustaine alone, just his musicianship, and not that he's like an amazing singer, but the way he delivers works so well for Megadeth. But yeah, I love all of them, but Metallica's probably my favorite.
Nice, man. Hell yeah. We're definitely down for that. Right back up to you, Angel.
How do you keep up with all of your releases, musical projects, and because I couldn't keep up with.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, I hope I'm not confusing people by doing so much. Like he's here, he's there, he's there, he's this. But yeah, I just really enjoy what I do, and I think that's the thing. I don't really enjoy too much else. It's just like, work, music, sleep, eat. Like that's really it. So I really enjoy what I do. I have a good job that allows me to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And yeah, I mean, I like to think of as being a musician as having split personality disorder. Who am I talking to today? Am I talking to like, acoustic guy? Do I want to write a bluesy song? Do I want to go like balls out? Like, when I play with DOV and Second Skin and all that. So you get different facets with different projects, and I think it's a good way to display your musicianship. So that's how I look at it.
Would you ever do an acoustical music album?
Like all acoustic?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I try to, and then I always get carried away and I start layering too much guitar stuff, and it's like, man, I don't know. But yeah, definitely. I'm willing to try just about anything.
And okay, when it comes to recording, how do you pick which guitar?
Well, it comes from many years of experience, and you get to know. It's kind of like when you're a contractor, you know what 5 feet is. Like you don't even need the tape measure anymore. You just know what it is, and that's the sound I want. I'm very familiar with what I play, and I can almost hear it in my head when I'm thinking of it. And I'm like, or maybe I'm thinking, and that's another thing. Having so many guitars, it keeps it interesting for me. So I get in different zones with different ones. So I think it kind of helped me diversify as a musician almost. You have to have a couple different tools for the job,
Are you still buying more guitars, or is this it for now?
I think my girlfriend will kill me, but nah, she's
Yep,
cool.
that'll be a good musical for the first 48. This
You know
is the
it
last
is?
piece that was written.
It's filling everywhere in the house now, and I have to try and keep it to like 3 rooms at 3 different parts of the house at least. Like it can't be everywhere. So I don't know. I have a problem, and I need help.
Yeah, there's no cure for that. Do you have a guitar in the bathroom? I had to ask.
I have brought one in the bathroom, but it's never been permanently there. Not yet. It'll happen. Maybe.
So, what album just blew you away? Is there any record out there that when you first heard just blew you away and that was it? That what got you hooked on music or albums? Doesn't have to be one, could be multiple.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple, but I love Ride the Lightning by Metallica. That's probably my favorite album start to finish. You start in one place and you end in another, and it's got a very visual element to it, which is interesting because they never did music videos back then, especially with those songs. But just the titles alone suggest a certain place and a certain thing that they're writing about, and you get a very clear image of what they're singing about. So I love that album. I was actually just listening to it the other day. Mad Season, the side project Lane Staley went into when they all went into rehab. That's a great album, and it's very different. They have a lot of different styles, They, Barrett Martin, I think is his name. He's very jazzy almost, and then Mike McCready's very like kind of how I play, like hard rock blues, and Lane Staley is like an old soul almost. So I mean, it was just an interesting blend of, and they only did one album, so it's like extra special.
And
But yeah,
it
those are
just
like some of my favorites.
it just kind of makes you wonder, especially with like Alex and Chains, just had Lane Staley, was still around, how their career wise would have really turned out.
Yeah, I think they would have kind of. Well, it's like they went from like blues rock, almost like Guns N' Roses, but like a darker element. And then they kind of hit like their hybrid sound, and then they kind of went like a weird way. But I still like it. It's like grimy or sludgier, I guess you'd call it, industrial. But I wonder, yeah, they probably kind of would have went more back towards the dirt phase, I think, at some point. Even if when you listen to like their unreleased stuff, it's interesting to see the stuff or listen to the stuff you didn't hear that were like maybe pivoting towards that next. Because when you listen to an Alice in Chains record, they're basically reinventing themselves every time while maintaining their key elements.
And we were talking about kicking Valentina earlier, and DK, how you doing, brother? We're definitely looking forward to seeing you at the record release party Saturday, April 27th. We're going to be there hosting it. So get your ass down to Georgia. It's going to be a fucking party. We're going to party all night till Georgia shuts us down. That's the best way to put it. So he has a question for you. How would you describe your style, guitar and songwriting?
Okay, well, usually I write the music first, and I'll just be sitting at like the kitchen table or in here, and I got a riff, and I take out the phone, I record it. A couple days later, I come up with something else, and then I'm like, those were cool. That was cool. So let's try and make those fit together. And I'll sit here at my Mac, like right over there, and I'll put some fake drums to it, and I'll play the bass part. And then I'll kind of just split everything up and like play around with the form. You have to play around with forms and try and do stuff you've never done before. So I mean, and then lyrics are like its own animal. It's hard because you have to be inspired, and a lot of times, it's more so like when you're going through the rough times, like things when they're not going your way is when you come up with some of the best stuff, I think. So it's really whenever it strikes, and then eventually it all comes together into one cohesive thing. And it's interesting because every band that I'm in, every project is totally different. You have to learn to work with a totally different set of people. So I think there's something to be said about that, and learning how to adapt also. Hell yeah. Someone's gonna party now.
Oh yeah, we're actually hosting the record release parties. It's something cool that the Metal Summit does, where we like to host rock events and record release party. That's why I was telling you, dude, you're in Jersey, so if you ever want us to come out and host something, dude, let us know. You can do something like acoustic with like a Q&A, like that VH1 shows, storytellers.
Okay.
But they would just kind of talk about the songs and things.
Yeah. Oh,
just
I love
something cool to throw out there.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, man. And yeah, you get to pick the brain of what they were thinking at that time. And that's another thing. You're always capturing whatever you're writing and putting out. You're capturing, it's like taking a picture where I was at this point in time in my life, what I was going through. And, you'll remember who you were with, where you were, how old you were, you know what I mean? So that stuff is cool.
So I have two questions that has to do with songwriting. How do you know when the song is done? When you know, okay, the song is finished, there's no need to add anything else to it?
Man, that's always hard. And that's I guess when you're like when you've let it go for a couple months and then you come back to it again and it's like, I really don't know what else to add. I have no idea. Like I'm stumped. But then you do that like 3 times and you come back to it. I think by like the 3rd or 4th time that you're really stumped on what to do, I think that's when it's like, I think I might be done with this one. So it's funny in that Metallica documentary, Lars Ulrich. I hate his art collection. I think it's hideous. Like I'm really not an obscure art guy. I don't really get it, but he made a quote. He made a point where he's like he pointed up to this really weird section of it, and there was nothing there. And he's like, "What made it? What clicked in the artist's mind that it's done?" You know what I mean? And I'm like, that is weird. You know, I never really thought about that. And as a kid, I was like really looking up to Metallica, and I'm like, I wonder if this is how they think, you know? So that's how I've always kind of looked at it.
I mean, now with YouTube, it's pretty interesting. You kind of get to hear demos of songs before they were finished. Do you ever find yourself just strolling to YouTube, kind of looking at or?
Oh yeah. Oh, looking up like the unfinished versions and all that. Yeah,
like demos, which they seem to now get released for like special edition stuff. It's always pretty interesting because you're kind of thinking at one point, that they know, okay, it's finished, leave it the way it is.
Yeah, and that's what's another thing that's interesting is like sometimes you go and listen to demos and you like certain elements of that better than the studio version, and it's like, again, you're capturing a point in time that you'll never have everything you totally want in one song. You know what I mean? There's going to be different takes that you do that are so much better. So I think it's definitely interesting to look at like the unfinished thing, because sometimes I think some things were better, but that was my opinion because it's not what they released, So, yeah, I mean, it's cool to see how different artists think, for sure.
So, have you ever done a song where you come up with the title first, or is that something?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, if you're like a kid and you're reading the dictionary and you see a cool word or something, oh, that might be like, what does that mean? You flip through and you're like looking up what it means. And it's like, that might make like a cool concept. How does that apply to anything I'm going through? You know what I mean? And you kind of write a narrative around that concept. And then you need music that matches it. So then you're like, all right, well, what did I write the other day? So.
And 1 second, let me bring Jay back.
Welcome back.
Again, Jay, we really appreciate you hanging in there. Because again, there was a power outage down in Maryland.
Yeah.
So,
dude, it's the biggest headache. They keep sending me like different like times where it was like, okay, we should have it back on by like 10:45. I'm like, okay, that's not too terrible. And now it's like, yeah, we'll have it on by 11:15. I'm like, yeah, that's really terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It must be of the old days with Guns N' Roses. Yeah, they'll be on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that's cool about this show, and the one thing about me and Angel having the brotherhood that we do is, worst comes to it, if this just becomes such a headache and I have to tap out, I know that Angel's going to hold it down and kill it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You can rely on each other. That's awesome.
For sure. Well, let me feel like a person again real quick. Zach, when you're putting together the set list for Disciples of Verity, what particular songs do you play live that you get really excited to have in there?
Oh man, some of my favorite DOV songs. I really love the Lost ones. We haven't played any of our new stuff out yet. Or no, we did. We played 2 songs. Those 2 songs I'm really really adamant. I'm like, guys, these are like the singles. I'm like, I think so. And actually, one of them, the first one we're going to release, is one of my favorite ones, Thread the Needle. Like I said earlier in the show, I really get psyched about that. I like playing The Flow is a lot of fun. It's a banger. But yeah, those are like some of my favorites for DOV for sure.
Nice, man. Absolutely. Do you have to switch yourself to a different kind of mindset when you're putting stuff together for Verity versus when you're doing stuff either for you and your girl or just solo acoustic stuff?
Yeah, I think so. But it's like I'm so used to playing with all, like I know everybody pretty well at this point. So it's pretty easy for me to snap into it. Again, it's like being a borderline person or split personality. You just kind of, who am I talking to today, and you just have to adapt.
Gotcha, man. For sure.
So, okay, let me throw a little something interesting. If you had to make your top 5 albums,
Okay. Oh, we lost him. Oh, man. Okay, so top 5 albums. I'm going to go with Ride the Lightning. I'm going to go with Dirt, Alice in Chains, Mad Season, Above, Paranoid, Black Sabbath. I know that's kind of like really that one, but I mean that's one of my favorite ones. But it's hard to pick with Black Sabbath. Man, and then probably maybe Animals by Pink Floyd.
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, no one ever reps Animals. I don't get it. It's a great album. But the guitar work is undeniable with David Gilmour. And again, that's like I think where a lot of my Riverside stuff comes from, is like Pink Floyd, the more ethereal side of playing guitar.
So, as far as producers, do you have any producers that really stand out to you?
Not really actually. I'm kind of guilty. I never really looked that up. I'm always more in the musician's head. I wish though, maybe I should. That's a good thing. That's a goal, I think. I'll try and look up the producers and try to pick a favorite.
I mean, it's interesting because with Metallica, there was the controversy of Bob Rock, and and how he, did the Black Album.
Yeah.
Because kind of like in the 80s, you would buy the album. Of course, there was not YouTube, so we had to read the lyrics, the credits, who produced it, who mastered it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, the Black Album's insane. I mean, the quality, like every time I listen to it, I find nuanced little things that Metallica didn't have before. And I think that's really admirable that he was able to like infiltrate this very solid unit, and they were like stuck in the way they were writing. And just the fact that he was able to stick it out with them and kind of change for the better and then later for the worse, but then the better again. Yeah, so that's really cool though. Every time those little nuances, it's their best sounding album, I think.
It's interesting. I mean, the record came out at a time where record labels had big budgets to spend 6 months to a year in a studio recording. So that's just pretty interesting about that time with the Black Album and all of those other records, is that record labels had the big budgets to send you to Vancouver or send you to LA to record.
Yeah, I can't even fathom that. Anytime you talk to, I guess, a record label, it's like, you owe us $2,000, not we're paying you $2,000, or you get nothing. I don't really know. I don't really have those conversations, but I can only imagine what it's turned into.
Well, I know. Let's see. Back then, there was paid for the studio time for a music video. Just from me reading interviews, between 100 grand to 250 grand
Wow.
to make the music video. So
Wow.
so that's coming out of the record sales and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, back then too, not everybody and their mother had a camera. So it's like they kind of lost a lot of their power that way. So I guess I understand why they're not as generous with giving out money anymore. I don't know. And I guess people, just bad investments in certain bands, but
So, as a musician, do you feel the pressure to be on social media every day? Because we know social media now, it's almost like being part of a musician.
yeah.
Being out there. So, do you ever feel the pressure of, oh, I gotta? I mean, we're human. Sometimes we don't feel like doing it every day. But do you
Yeah.
ever feel that pressure as a musician?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure even as someone who hosts interviews and podcasts, or anybody who's in some kind of art industry has to have some kind, or even being a contractor. Everything you do, everybody has to be. If you have something you want to put out there, a service or art or whatever it is, you have to be on social media. And that's just the way it is. It's kind of like what we're getting into with AI. Like we're getting into a point where you can't erase what's there. It's there now. Like that's the thing. You have to do it. As much as you hate it, and it's weird because I'm kind of at a point where I'm a little older than the people who are really into it, but I'm close enough to it where I think I adapted pretty well and I can pick it up pretty fast. But there's all these nuance. It's like studying it's like playing a game, honestly.
Yeah, like I remember in the early '90s. One major example I can give you is Soundgarden. They did their breakthrough album that came out in '91, and they were allowed to disappear. And then when they came back with the song Spoon Man, which is pretty interesting, they're not in the video. It's just pictures of the band. You
Yeah.
got the guy, the Spoon Man. But I kind of missed that mystique where artists were allowed to, go away for a year
Yeah.
or so and be able to have downtime to really work on a record
Definitely. Yeah, you're
and then
not
just
allowed.
come back. It's
Yeah, that's the thing. That's back when artists just had to focus on the music, whereas now artists have to focus. You have to do your own videos. You have to be on social media. You have to record your own songs. You have to mix your own songs. You have to write the songs. You have to do everything. You have to hire a publicist. You got to do the metadata and all that stuff. And
dude,
it's really annoying.
you
But
know what? Sorry,
um,
Zach. I got a funny story, but go ahead.
yeah, but anyways, I was just wrapping up what I was saying. It's like you have to do everything and it sucks, but if you love it and this is the times, you got to do it. So, but yeah, you got to do everything. And kids are only going to get better at things too. They're going to I don't know. I don't know what's next. No one's even thought of what's next.
No, and dude, for publicists, dude, your father's the best publicist.
Oh yeah. He's good.
True story. I met him at Applebee's. I had on the Metal Summit hoodie, and just sitting across from each other. And he was like, "What's that? The Metal Summit?" He was like, "What's that? A band?" I was like, "No, it's a podcast show." So after a few minutes, he immediately starts talking about you, your music, your guitars, all that stuff. So I was like, "Yeah, I mean, he was in that band. We've had a couple of the guests on the show." So
Yeah.
another dude comes around. He was like, "Oh, I had my cousin on your show." So I kind of hit the subscribe button for him. And which I come to think of it, dude, if anybody puts their cell phone in your hands on YouTube, hit subscribe on their
Yeah,
page.
on their phone. Yeah.
Yeah, on their phone, in case they forget.
Yeah, it can't hurt.
That's a good lesson. Nah, that's a good lesson that I learned that night. But it was like an R-rated version of Cheers because everybody that came in, your dad and I were just talking to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, where were you guys at? Applebee's?
Yeah, we were at Applebee's
Oh, nice. Yeah,
in Edison.
that's our place. Yeah, or it
Yeah.
used to be. We used to go all the time. It was fun. But yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up with a couple of questions from Brian.
Okay.
Brian wants you to describe your band in your sound in 60 seconds.
My sound in 60 seconds. I am a blues, hard rock. I love 70s guitar in a nutshell, but I can appreciate everything. You have to take what you can, and you take what you like from what you can, and discard what you're not into. You have to play the music you like, and I like to play the music that I love. So, yeah, hard rock, heavy metal, and then I like to play ambient, bluesy rock as well. I've studied jazz. I studied, just I don't even know. That's my 60-second description.
Yeah, and you're in Jersey, so who are your 5 favorite Jersey bands?
Jersey bands.
Yes.
Well, I love Skid Row. I was just listening to him like yesterday, and Black Label. I love Black Label. They're probably like the band I've seen the most times. I think 5 or 6 at this point. Favorite Jersey band? I don't know. Those are just the 2 that come to mind, though. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, do you know Bruce Springsteen?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, but I wouldn't say he's my favorite." I like a couple songs.
Let's see. There's
Bon
Trickster.
Jovi, Trickster.
Right, Trickster. Damn it! Now I'm stuck.
I know. Once you're put on the spot on a live podcast, they don't come flooding in. But if I was sitting by myself talking to myself, I could name like 100. I'm sure.
So many of them.
Well, those are my 2 favorite Jersey bands. So
yeah, there you go.
I kind of answered the question.
It's hard to name 5.
Yeah, it can
So,
be. Second Skin. There's 3.
I know Trickster. Let's see who else. Oh, damn. I really don't feel like a Jersey guy right now.
No, me either. I'm a bad New Jerseyan. I can't think of 5 Jersey bands that is Cheap Trick New Jersey, but I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if I really like Cheap Trick.
Okay, so we're gonna go with artists. We can throw in Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I like Frank Sinatra. Is he my favorite though? I don't know.
No.
I'm drawing a blank.
Me too.
Oh, well, God Forbid is one.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
another Jersey band. Or New York, New Jersey. New Brunswick, New Jersey.
It's sometimes hard to tell.
Yeah, I know. It's like, is a band from New York or are they from Jersey?
Right. Like I almost said Cinderella, but I forgot Cinderella's from Philadelphia, but they played in South Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of like the middle child state of the tri-state, I think. I don't know. We don't even have a football team, but we have a hockey team.
Yeah, that's all we got.
That's all we got. We have a hockey team.
Yeah, Jay-Z took the basketball team to Brooklyn. So I'm going to put on my Jay hat and say what Jay would normally say around this time. Jay would normally say, "Hey, where can we find you on social media?
Everywhere. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Fiverr, YouTube. I also give session guitar work for anybody who wants a cool guitar solo for like $15. Not to solicit, but that's
Dude,
what Fiverr is.
that's all we do on here. I mean, look what
Yeah,
I'm wearing. A Metal
we're
Summit shirt.
soliciting.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's
yeah,
no sign that says no soliciting or nothing. We will never have that sign on the show.
Not that anybody listens anyway, about soliciting. People will just do it on their own. Oh, Danzig's from New Jersey. I like
That's
Danzig.
what I was thinking about. The Misfits.
I like the first record.
Yeah, the Misfits. Overkill's from Jersey.
Right. Okay. See, now they're flooding in. Well, for you, not for me. I'm still drawing a blank.
But I was thinking of Overkill and the Misfits.
Yeah, Bobby Blitz. I know he's a Jersey guy. I think he played at the Moose Lodge or something. I don't remember. Somebody was telling me he played somewhere local, and it was like kind of cool. It's like, wow. So yeah, I'm still drawing a blank.
That's right. Again,
Oh.
Go ahead.
DOV is a Jersey band.
Yeah. Yes, I think we came up with a good 5.
Okay. Well, all right. So that's my 5 then. I'm gonna go with that.
So again, can't thank you enough for your time. Especially on short notice. So definitely want to thank you. And look, that offer is out there. Look, if you ever do a show, want me to host or anything, just hit me up, brother.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I thank you guys for having me on. I wish your partner in crime was here, but what are you gonna do with the internet? But yeah, thank you guys.
All right, so this is where I do the line that Jay would do. So I just want to thank everybody. Don't forget to follow us and Zach on all of the social medias. Definitely check him out whenever he comes to your town. Check out his one of many musical projects. So this is a good way to support music. If we got $300 to support Motley Crue, please support live music and support Zach's musical projects as well. So we're going to have our announcement for our next guest on Friday this weekend. So just want to thank everybody. Horns up. I think that's what Jay says. Yeah, horns up. Yep. That goes to tell you I don't pay attention, dude. So horns up. Again, thank you everybody for watching.
Peace.